Hey, it's Coach Anderson here from Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about ACT reading. Remember, students, how we talked about how important it is that you do the absolute best that you can, of course, on the ACT. And the reading section is one of those sections on the test, of course, that can give you a great deal of bang for your buck, provided you put the time in. What we're going to do today is we're going to go through and look at the 4 types of passages that are given on ACT reading. And we hope that you'll be able to take advantage of some of the things that we tell you and do quite well. Get as much scholarship money as you can, of course, and get to any university in the United States of America, of course, that would you like to get to, or anywhere else that accepts ACT. Today we're going to start talking first with lesson number 6, and lesson number 6 is going to be the prose passages. And it's how to approach the prose passages on the ACT reading. So when we talk about the prose passages, we're typically talking about a prose fiction. And the description, we're talking about narrative text, most often excerpts from novels or short stories. Common themes include character development, conflict, and setting. So when we're thinking about the prose passages on this particular test, these are the things, of course, that we have to kind of keep our mind wrapped around. Today we're going to look at a sample prose passage, and after we look at that sample prose passage, what we're going to do, of course, is we're going to give you the opportunity, of course, to answer questions, or we're going to ask questions together to figure out how we got to those answers, so that when you take your practice test coming up in a couple of weeks or a week or so, you'll be able, of course, to do quite well. What we're going to do at this particular time is we're going to flash in a few moments the sample prose passage, and what we're going to do is cut away for a few minutes and allow you the opportunity to read this particular passage, and then we'll come back in a few moments. Okay, you should have had enough time that you were able to go through, of course, and look at the sample prose passages and able to go through, of course, and read this particular sample. And now what we're going to do is we're going to transition a little bit forward, since you've had the opportunity to read it, and we're going to talk about how it is that we approach the prose fiction passages. Number one, we're going to talk about strategies. It's important to understand that we need to identify the character motivations and relationships when it comes to these particular passages. We should look for thematic elements, pay attention to tone, style, and character development, and mood also. Prose passages usually have 2 to 3 characters. Rarely do they have a complete story arc, and they usually end in a cliffhanger with many answers unresolved. What motivations might the main character have in the passage? What relationships can be explicitly determined or inferred? Is there a conflict? These are some of the questions, of course, that we need to answer. And to give you even a more thorough list in terms of what questions needs to be answered when it comes to the prose passages, we have these. Who are our characters? What are the characters' relationships? Is there a conflict? What is the mood? What is the author's tone? Is there a culmination, or is it a cliffhanger that we typically look at when we look at these particular types of passages? What we're going to do, of course, is look at an annotation. Now, the annotation strategies, of course, that you may use in terms of the way that you approach your reading, the first thing we'll tell you is do what's worked for you. If you've annotated and you've done quite well, of course, on reading assessments on various other tests, you should probably stick to those types of things. These are just some of the things or suggestions that we would like to make to you that helps us, or helps me, understand what it is, of course, that these passages are asking us for. You notice what I did, of course, is this is especially helpful if you're taking the multiple choice test on ACT reading online. So it says, and what I've done, of course, is highlighted. And this is a function, of course, that you can do with the online test. With the written test, you may have to underline and write, of course, in the margins. And we did a little of that for you also. But we look at what we highlighted. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the quiet village, that was something that we identified as mood. We look at that third sentence, or the second sentence, memories of laughter and summer, days danced in mind, mingling with cool evening breeze, and that's mood. Suddenly a rustle in the trees pulled her back to reality, and her heart raced with anticipation, and that's mood. So what we try to do, of course, is identify in prose. Well, one of the things we said is that the author, we try to see what mood he set, and then what type of tone is being set throughout the passage. The next thing it says, tonight, everything would change. The tone, of course, of the passage began to change a little bit. It's a little bit of fear or foreboding, of course, is kind of introduced. If you look down here in purple again, and once again, You notice that in mood, we underlined, of course, everything in blue. And when it came to tone, we started, of course, highlighting, of course, in purple. He says, I don't know, Elara biting her lip. What if they don't understand? Once again, tone of fear or foreboding. And then we, of course, if you look in yellow, what we also did is we identified who the two characters were. In this particular case, the two characters are Elara and Jackson. And then if you notice, one of the questions we asked you to think about is there a conflict? Well, when we looked upon going through and looking at it, we said that they deserve to know the truth. Elara turned to face him, uncertainty flickering in her gaze. What if it tears the village apart? That indicates some type of conflict that needs to be, of course, addressed. And then we have more purple, of course, for tone. As the shadows lengthened, Elara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their shared secret settle between them. Once again, a conflict again. And then the last thing that we did, it says, together they stepped forward, ready to confront the night and whatever awaited them, a cliffhanger. This is, in our minds, a cliffhanger. There's nothing in this paragraph, of course, that tells us or culminates and gives us an exact answer in terms of what happened here. If they went on and told us about what happened after they told the secret, then, of course, it would have, identified what the outcome was. In this particular case, it kind of leaves us with a cliffhanger. Remember, one of the things that we said about the characteristics of these prose fiction paragraphs in some cases is they leave you the idea of a cliffhanger. What we're going to do, one of the questions, of course, was relationship, and this would be a note in red that I would have written out, of course, in the margin. And what it says is Elara and Jackson have a secret with have a relationship with a shared secret. And we don't know if they're friends, lovers, married, or enemies, or whatever. We just know that they both have a shared secret. And there's a sense of foreboding about allowing the people in their village, of course, to know about it. So these are some of the things that I would look for if I were attacking the prose fiction passages. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at a few questions. And there are basically 5 types of questions on the ACT reading. No matter what passage type you have, there are 5 basic types of questions, of course, that are being asked. And what we're going to do is look at each individual one, give you a question example of each one of them, and tell you what the rationale for choosing that correct answer would have been. The first question that we have is determine the main idea. The question is, what is the main theme conveyed in the passage? A, the inevitability of change and the importance of truth. B, the beauty of nature in the passage of time. C, the fear of confrontation and the desire for acceptance. D, the bond between friends and the strength of community. Well, when you look at it, the answer is going to be A, the inevitability of change and the importance of truth. And the rationale was, in the passage, Elara and Jackson are on the verge of revealing a secret that has been weighing on them. The conversation reflects their anticipation and uncertainty about the consequences of sharing the truth. Elara worries about how the villagers react, while Jackson, of course, reassures her. So she is more nervous about it, and then Jackson, of course, is more reassuring. The phrase, "we've waited too long for this, they deserve to know truth," suggests that the theme revolves around the inevitability of revealing the truth and the necessity of doing so. Regardless of the outcome, the passage also underscores the idea of change, as their actions will likely alter the dynamics of their community. This makes A the best choice. So the first question type, of course, is determining main idea. And in our minds, the main idea is the inevitability of change and the importance of truth. Question 2, character motivation. What motivates the characters, of course, in this particular passage? It says, what motivates Elara's hesitation about revealing the truth? A, she is unsure of her feelings for Jackson. B, she fears the villagers will not accept them. She doubts the existence of their secret. She worries about the consequences of confrontation. Well, it didn't mention anything about her feelings. We even said, in terms of what the relationship was, we don't even know what the relationship was. In terms of looking at C, she doubts the existence of a secret. Oh, there's a secret. They both acknowledge that there's a secret. D, she worries about the consequences of confrontation. Well, yes, she worries about that. She is unsure, she fears the villagers will not accept him. Those are 2 possible answers, of course, that we could possibly make a case for. But the true answer here is B. She fears the villagers will not accept him. Elara's hesitation is primarily driven by the fear of how the villagers will react. She explicitly voices her concerns with the lines, what if they don't understand? What if it tears the village apart? These statements reveal that her worry centers around whether the villagers will accept them or not and the potential consequences of the secret being exposed. She has not questioned the validity of the secret, which would make C incorrect, nor is she uncertain about her feelings for Jackson, which would make A incorrect. While she does acknowledge that revealing the truth could lead to confrontation, her primary concern is the acceptance by the villagers, making B the most accurate choice. All right, the next type of question we're going to look at is going to be contextual understanding. And sometimes in these questions in ACT reading, it won't be contextual understanding, it'll be vocabulary context. And some of these questions you can answer especially if you have a strong vocabulary and if you are an avid reader, you could probably answer these questions even without going through and reading the passages. In this particular question, question number 3, contextual understanding says, what does the phrase whispering secrets of the past suggest about the water? A, it is a reminder of happy memories. B, it holds important historical knowledge. C, it signifies the flow of time and change. Or D, it reflects the villagers' hidden truths. Well, when we look at it, the best answer is probably going to be C, it signifies the flow of time and change. And the reason for that is the phrase whispering secrets of the past uses metaphorical language to suggest that the water is not just physically flowing, but is also symbolically conveying something deeper, namely the passage of time and the inevitability of change that comes with it. This is especially relevant as Elara stands on the bridge reflecting on her memories and the upcoming change. Nothing stays the same. Question 4, inference. Now, an inference, of course, happens when you can read something and you can draw a conclusion based on what you think the author means. So in looking at inference here, this is question 4, the 4th type of question that may be asked on any of those 4 types of question passages. And the one that we have here says, what can be inferred about Jackson's character based on his actions in the passage? A, he is anxious and uncertain about their plans. B, he is confident and supportive of Elara. C, he is indifferent to Elara's feelings. D, he is afraid of the villagers' reactions. Well, when you look at it, none of those, only one of those, statements, of course, is a true statement here. He isn't anxious. He may be anxious to some degree, but it's not so much that he's not willing, of course, to tell the truth about what's going on. The best answer is B, he is confident and supportive of Elara. He is more concerned with supporting her and reassuring her that this is the right thing to do than any of the other things, of course, that you see here. Rationale, Jackson's actions and dialogue suggest that he is calm, reassuring, and confident in the face of uncertainty. When Elara expresses doubt and concern about the village's reaction, what if they don't understand? What if it tears the village apart? Jackson responds with comforting, supportive words, we waited too long for this. They deserve to know the truth. And because of that, that would make B the very best answer in this particular case. Question number 5, author's purpose. So the 5th type of question that you'll find in ACT reading is going to be, what is the author trying to convey? What is his purpose? Question number 5 says, what is the author's primary purpose in this passage? A, to describe a peaceful village scene and the beauty of nature. Well, it is beautiful, and he does convey that. To convey the tension and emotional conflict between the characters they prepare to reveal a secret. To highlight the history and traditions of the village, to illustrate the importance of friendship in overcoming fear. Well, the best answer is B, to convey the tension and emotional conflict between the characters as they prepare to reveal a secret. The rationale is the central focus of the passage is not describing the beauty in the village, even though he does do a good job in terms of conveying what the beauty of that particular place looks like. Elara is clearly uncertain and anxious about what might happen once the truth is revealed, expressing concerns about how the villagers will react. Jackson, on the other hand, offers support and reassurance, emphasizing that it's time for the truth to be known. So the passage revolves around an emotional conflict. Should we or shouldn't we? How will they, be affected by it? How will we be perceived by it? So that would make B the very best answer. What we have done, or what we've attempted to do, of course, is to go through and give you an idea about what the literary prose passages are about, and try to give you an example of each of the 5 common question types that ACT reading, of course, suggests. When you take this particular test. And what we hope to do, of course, is give you some ideas about some annotation. Told you about the difference in terms of looking at the written test, what you can do in terms of annotation, and what you can do, of course, in terms of the online test. What we will hope you will do, of course, is take the advice that we've given you, put some of these particular ideas in practice, go through, find some prose passages from ACT reading. They're readily available at act.org. Go through, use some of the strategies that we've thrown out to you, and practice, practice, and practice some more. Because remember, ACT equals scholarship. which means mom and dad don't have to pay so much money to get you in somebody's school. And with that, we'll see you next time. This is Coach Anderson from Mississippi Public Broadcasting.